Okay, welcome everyone. This is the Town Webster Conservation Commission meeting, Thursday, July 21st, 2022. Calling this meeting to order at 5:36 p.m. I'm going to start the meeting with a new excerpt here while we meet virtually. Pursuant to Governor Baker's February 15th, 2022 signed new session law extending certain COVID-19 related measures of 2021, known as Chapter 22 of the Acts of 2022, including an act of extension of suspending certain provision of the open meeting law, GLC 30A, Section 18, until July 15th, 2022. On July 16th, 2022, Acting Governor, Lieutenant Governor Polito signed into law a further extension of the remote meeting provisions of the open meeting law until March 31st, 2023. This meeting of the Webster Conservation Commission will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. This board meeting will be recorded for the purposes of open meeting law and note taking. Anyone wishing to record this meeting must notify the chairman in advance. All right, I will do a roll call now. Commissioner Dan Duda,
Yes.
Commissioner Karen Bartholomew,
Yes.
Commissioner Hayden Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Fred Bach,
Yes.
Commissioner Richard Parent,
Yes.
and I am Chairman Joey Wigglesworth. We're all present in this meeting. So we are going to hear public notice, notice of intent, an amendment for 302 Killdeer Road, amendment for DEP number 323-1185. This is change in retaining wall layout. This is for Cameron Smith, and he has his contractor Jared Mahota with him. Cameron and Jared, how are you this evening?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. All right.
Doing well,
So-
thank you very much.
Great. So you had sent over, we had asked you at the last meeting to get together a phase out your plan from this point, at that point, going forward to the end of the project. And then also, we needed a better sketch out of what you were going to be doing in your backyard as far as measurements and whatnot. After we've been through the meeting, the building inspector looked at the area where your patio and your deck are, and found that to be of concern and danger. And we subsequently issued an emergency order to your NOI to begin that putting in that wall to be able to brace up that far end. So I don't know if Mary has been out to the site to look at that, but do you have any pictures at all, Cameron, that you show where the project's at? Or Jared, do you have pictures to show where you're at with the project right now?
No, I don't have any pictures.
No, but I can take some tomorrow, tonight, and send them back to Mary or you, Joey, to kind of get to everyone.
Okay, all right. I don't necessarily, I don't think that's necessary. Ted obviously, made the assessment that, the wall needed to go up in order to make sure that there wasn't a failure there, especially with your deck pushing down patio and nothing there to brace it, so. So with that said, do we have, a new sketch and do we have, the phasing of the project?
Yes. And I should let you guys know, he just emailed me a new sequencing a little bit ago, so that's not on the website, but I will show it to you after you guys look at the plan.
All right, so this. All right, so if I remember from last time, the work at the water is, the wall at the water is done, with the exception of the riprap, correct?
No, the riprap was in as well.
Okay, okay. And then, everything else was dirt. There was no wall, no walls on either side. And then, the wall, the second retainer wall and the stairs were not in. So, all right, so where are you at with putting in that secondary wall now, Jared?
We're about 90% complete. To the left there, going towards the stairs, we probably have 2 more blocks to set on the base to be able to finish that, but we need to install the other retaining wall on the property line first before we can continue that wall. That wall is done. The other property line on the left by the staircase.
So to make sure that the integrity is there.
Yeah, so
that.
And then we can finish the other retaining wall along the deck area and then complete the stairs and work our way out of the backyard.
Okay. All right. What kind of block are you using? Just, is it like a Versa block? Is it just sort of a cement block or?
Yeah, they're 2 foot by 2 foot by 4 foot concrete blocks.
Okay. Commissioners, do you have any questions? This is obviously a far better sketch than what we had before.
I just want to be clear that I understand here. Right now, you're almost done with the base layer for the taller wall. Then you have to finish the side wall and on both sides, or at least on the right, before you can start building up the height of the wall. Did I get that right?
No, that's the wall that goes across the deck there.
Yeah.
That wall there's 3 courses as far left as we could get it. So we pretty much have, I would say, 90% of that wall complete.
Okay, thank you.
And the wall, I guess if you're facing the drawing here on the right side, that wall is completed. And what's remaining is the wall on the left side of the property line and the staircase. And then, the last corner of the wall along the deck, which would be, it's probably about 6 more feet to go in length and then 3 courses.
Okay. Now, did you intend or did Ted say anything about needing new sonotubes for supporting the deck?
No.
Okay, all right, so everything with the patio and the deck will remain.
That's correct.
Okay, all right, and then, all right, granite stairs, I see that, okay. And then, you're just gonna grade this down in this base area where this was all dirt and dug up here. Are you gonna put loam down there?
Yes, that'll be lumen and seed.
All right, how many inches of loam are you planning on putting in there?
4 inches.
Okay, make sure, we probably mentioned it when we were at the site, we may have mentioned it at the last meeting, but you're gonna wanna make sure that you leave a lip for the finished grade of at least 3 inches, 3 to 6 inches.
Yes.
So that, once that's is stabilized, and it's gonna be for that same wall, for both walls. 3-inch, at least a 3-inch lip. So that, we get a torrential rainstorm. Even after it's stabilized, it any runoff, it'll hit that little lip and it'll allow the water to kind of percolate in. So
Yes.
it's kind of a safeguard so the stuff just doesn't fly over the top of the wall. And just end up in the lake.
Yep, understood.
And then you've got. the
Joey,
shawl. Yeah,
I
go ahead.
just want to jump and confirm I understand you.
Mhm.
You want to make sure that the finished grade is actually brought down to like 89. Something
Hayden, you're right.
We-
92.59
Hayden, you're breaking up.
Yeah, we lost you.
because the
Hayden.
top of the wall is shown as 92.84.
Hayden? Hayden, you there?
Yeah, I think he was just
Hang on.
about the,
Let me see if my internet is now.
Hayden, I think he's taking care of that because the top of the wall.
Can you guys
do.
Yeah.
hear me?
You there? Hayden, try again.
Yeah, if I can kind of explain the,
I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you a little better.
Can you guys hear me?
You sound far away now. It was Zoom sort of kind of getting all gargled up. I think he was talking
All
about,
right.
you were able to type it?
So I just want to confirm, Joey, that what you're asking is that the finished grade. I'm on my cell phone tonight, so
Yeah.
yeah. So my question, just making sure that I understand you, is that the finished grade, you want 3 inches below the top of.
Yeah, we're seeing, see where it says top of wall, Jared, and see where it says finished grade, they're almost the same.
yeah, so top of wall is 98.22 and finished grade is 97.97. So the difference between the two is 3 inches.
All right, what about at the shoreline?
At the shoreline, the top of wall is 92.84 and the finished grade is 92.59. The difference between the two is 3 inches. So the finished grade is 3 inches below the top of wall on both tiers.
Yeah, the one is known as 92.59 from top of wall 92.58.
Top of wall 92.84.
Yeah, do you see that? Finished grade is 92.59 and on top of wall is 92.80.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that he instead of doing it in inches, he did it in decimals, so that difference is the 3 inches, even though we don't.
Yep, confirmed. I see that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that we were all on the same page.
thanks, Hayden. All right, Karen?
Yeah.
Any questions? I mean, you spoke with Jared quite a bit at the site. And Dan, any specific questions?
I do not have any at the time. Oh,
Okay,
I think we wanted to make sure that the turbidity curtain was pulled back out into the water.
Yep.
Was that done?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Cameron sent me a text message, I think later that day, and told me that he had done it later that day, so.
No, I understand the grades. I understand the retaining wall. The only thing I would say, maybe it's a little late, is I don't see any plantings whatsoever. Are there supposed to be?
I don't believe so with this project. Let me look at the order.
Originally on the slope, we were supposed to
Yeah,
had requested some plantings.
Oh, that's, you're right.
But
I
now
think the
that,
whole lawn area was supposed to be planted, the whole
Yeah.
bottom lawn. Okay.
are you planning on putting in any kind of flowers or any kind of plantings at all? Cameron?
Yes, we absolutely are doing plantings at the top along with the fence, just kind of for both safety and erosion. Down at the bottom, I think we're waiting to sort of see both, you know, how wide that space will actually be once the blocks come out, but happy to put something along the water's edge there, knowing that we'll have that lip, and that will go kind of all the way to that. So I know you had given us a couple different recommendations, and we can certainly see what works and what will stay there.
All right, well, as part of this, and as part of this amendment, can we, at least, I mean, you know, this is the big piece, but, can you, at least take this, at least take this drawing and, I mean, get us just, mark up a planting plan to us and just get it to us?
Sure. Anything as far as kind of recommendation, does it need to be basically the entire length, or is it more?
We don't, I mean, we request natives, primarily natives.
Okay,
I think, in, what was in the other one?
there was gonna be shrubs.
Some shrubs and,
Was it ground cover that was called out in the order, Mary?
yeah, there were blueberries, hydrangeas, mountain laurels, but, you could probably, maybe down towards the water, maybe in like kind of in the corners or something, maybe put some, maybe, like some blueberry, I mean, I know you've got your daughter there.
Mhm.
Some high bush or low bush blueberries, she might have some fun picking the blueberries off of it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, Jared had
some
suggested
berries
the
in there.
corner. Sure, we can
Um,
definitely look at the two corners then
Yeah.
for some sort of blueberry or
Um,
plant.
Yeah, just to kind of add some vegetation back in, in there,
Mhm.
for wildlife and whatnot. I know that, changing this here, you've got a wall in there now where before it used to be just a big slope. But, adding a bit of vegetation back in here would be good, maybe some black-eyed Susans somewhere, just,
Okay,
some flowers. I mean, you can figure out, you could talk it over, with the family and find some areas in here and then just update your planting plan and just get that to us. We don't need to figure that out tonight.
sure. Yeah, no, my mother-in-law has a green thumb, so I'm sure she'll have ideas already.
All right. All right, but as far as the critical part of this, commissioners, any other, we've got the phasing here. Turbidity curtain, the straw wattles to be constructed. Jared, you did a great job of phasing this out. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I didn't see the first, the big wall against the patio in the phasing. Is it just because it's mostly done?
Yeah, that's correct. I left it out and then I kind of updated it again with what we have here with just the remaining, few blocks that we have to do on it on phase 5. And yeah, I updated it without it because it was mostly completed. So
Okay, okay.
Out of curiosity, Jared, do you have an idea as to when the project might be at least all tightened up, buttoned up, and maybe done?
yeah, I mean, I'm hoping by the end of not next week, but the following week,
Okay,
as long as everything goes as planned and weather cooperates.
well, I think we dodged a big one today with, so we could have gotten some pretty bad thunderstorms, so.
Yeah, I think so.
Next few days should be pretty good, so. All right, so with that said, folks are ready to, make a motion on this?
I'd have one more suggestion.
Sure.
Under phase 7, when he's talking about loaming and seeding, maybe you should add in to add in the plantings.
Yeah, why don't we, if you could just update that and add the plantings in there, that way it's in the phasing. And,
And that will go in the amended order as well, the plantings.
Yeah.
Do we want to give a number or do we want to leave it vague? It's nice to have a number in the, especially when someone goes to look at a certificate of compliance and they can say, oh yes, 3 plants and here they are. Or do we want to just leave it to, they'll submit a planting plan and that?
I don't think we had a number in the other one, did we?
Nope, we didn't. Nope.
No. So,
They could submit a planning plan and just put that on as a minor mod, and we include just include that in the order of conditions.
All right, so you say I can add a condition to the amendment saying they will submit a planting plan, but I don't want them to have to come back for
Yeah.
approval.
Well, that's why it would be a minor, that would be an actual minor mod.
Well,
You don't have to do the whole hearings, and at the moment, they don't know what they want to put in, they want to see it. So we can't, they can't put the plan together until they see the property, and therefore we can't see it. So really, they don't know what they would be putting in till close to phase 6.
well, the thing is, Fred, is we're trying to cut down the amount of times that people are coming before us.
Right, but this is one of those, we got a dog chasing its tail here.
well,
Because
Fred, we can certainly make the condition be that planting plan to be approved by agent or whatever that could be.
Agent or chairman, let's
Agent or
put
chairman.
agent or chairman.
Yeah,
And, I will consult, I'll consult you guys and leave you guys in the loop. And, if you can get something sketched out, I can bring it before you guys, I can bring it or I can just email it to you guys and, that, you decided on four shrubs and you're gonna do a bunch of flowers here and there. And I don't know, maybe you can do a small little, raised vegetable garden. So, all right. Ready for a motion?
Sure.
All right. Who's gonna make the motion for the amendment on 302 Killdeer Road?
but yeah, we need to close public hearing first and then issue the amendment.
Yes, that's true. Yep. Anyone here for any abutters here for 302 Killdeer Road? It's now open for public comment. All right, can I get a motion to close the public hearing, please?
Joey, I'll make the motion to close the public hearing.
A second.
Thank you, Hayden. Thank you, Dan.
All right. Ms. Bartholomew,
Yes.
Mr. Bach,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Duto,
Yes.
and Mr. Wigglesworth.
Yes. All right, motion to issue the amendment to 302 Killdeer Island Road for the retaining wall layout and the change to the phasing on number 7, adding a planting plan.
Joey, I'll make that motion.
All right, Hayden with the first
I'll second.
and Fred with the second.
Ms. Bartholomew,
Yes.
Mr. Bach,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Duto,
Yes.
Mr. Wigglesworth.
Yes. All right. Jared and Cameron, thank you very much. Mary will be leaving us as of the 28th, so feel free to reach out to the building department, but you've obviously, Cameron, you've got, I gave you my
Yep.
information, so if there's any problems you run into or you get questions or whatnot, feel free to communicate with me. Yeah, good luck with everything. And I will probably be by at some point, doing some sort of inspection. And once everything is all set and stabilized, and you're ready for a COC, certificate of compliance, to close out this whole thing. You'll probably want to be doing that closer to the fall.
Okay,
So we'll probably see you then. Okay.
great. Well, thank you all
Okay.
very much for your help. Thank you for doing the special meeting. We really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you very much. Good luck, Jared. Thank you so much. And have a good night to both of you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks. Okay.
Bye.
Bye. All right, so real quick, Karen and Richard, you got Mary's email about getting town issued IDs.
Yes.
Okay, you can either go and have Mary take a lovely photo of you, or you can just do a lovely selfie and send your photo to Mary. That way you have town issued conservation IDs.
Will do.
So.
Mary, can I actually also send you a photo and have you do one? Because I don't have one either.
Yeah, I was wondering if you had one. We got really, we
And
did really
I'll-
well
I'll-
and then we forgot. I think Robin's the last one who got one.
Okay,
The other thing I know is when I joined on, I never actually signed in the book because it was during COVID.
Oh,
you
You
never,
never what? What
We
didn't
never,
you
I
do?
never finalized the signature in the book because of COVID. They didn't want to pass that around.
do you mean you didn't get sworn in or?
I did the swearing in. I
Okay,
just never signed the actual book.
oh,
What book?
but for when you get sworn in,
Yeah.
did you guys get sworn in, Karen and Richard?
Yes.
No.
Okay, all right. I don't know about the book, so it's certainly worth calling Kelly and finding out.
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
there was something I was supposed to sign, but because of COVID, they didn't want me to sign
Yeah.
it. At the time, it was early COVID. They didn't want me to sign anything.
yeah,
There's
it's a legal formality, you know. I would just follow up on it. It's not an urgent, obviously it's not an urgent thing, but I would definitely just, when you get a chance, keep that on the middle burner and make sure that you get that taken care of. I want you folks to, when we are going out on Saturdays, to please have your IDs with you. And especially if if I need anyone to go out and take a look at a site in the absence of the agent, make sure you wear your town issued ID. That's a huge thing. Don't just go out onto the site, make sure that you're ringing the doorbell and making sure that you're letting someone know you're on the property. Even though there is, if there is an open order on a property, there is a legal mechanism that someone can still turn around and sue someone for being on the property for trespass. So please, be careful of that. Most people are okay with it because they've signed that agreement saying that, okay, yeah, I have an open order of conditions, or I've got an open thing with conservation and you're here to inspect it, but I just want to be careful with, we don't want to get dinged with trespass and being rogue. A couple of years ago, we were dinged as being a rogue commission. Just kind of be careful of that. So I just want to make sure everyone's got an ID. Dan, you're chuckling, what's funny?
I'll try to be good, Joey.
No, I'm not saying it
No.
because, no, I think.
Oh, well, if anybody's guilty of that, it's me, so.
No, I do the same thing. Like, I'm going around and I'm looking at this and looking at that, and I poke around at this and I poke around at that. But I'm always making sure that I got my ID with me. Because sometimes neighbors are like, is there something I can help you out with? And I'm like, hi, I'm Joey. I'm from the Conservation Commission, and I'm just, I'm just inspecting, or I'm just checking things out, because even from looking at the street, or, looking at.
I keep my ID in my vehicle with me. so.
Yeah, so, I just want to make sure, especially in the absence of Mary, we're all going to be kind of, so we could be sharing a load of looking at stuff. So, I don't need people, or folks that are in the building department thinking that we're suddenly a rogue.
Well, we need a pickup truck with conservation decal on the door. Then everybody will know.
I know, I never got one, did I?
Yeah. There's on this 18 Westwind, I saw you sent an email to Mark, Mary.
Yeah.
So he knows what's expected of him as far as the trees and all that jazz. So
Yeah, he wasn't ready anyway. He's gone. So I had put it on tonight in case he was, but he's not ready anyway. So.
okay. So changes to the tree policy. Do we have that? Are we ready to make some adjustments? Dan, you had some great changes for the tree policy.
Yeah, I drafted some up, so I'm as ready as anybody would be.
Do you have
don't
those,
know.
Mary?
I don't know who might have seen that, what I drafted up, so
I have seen it. Has anyone else seen those?
Let me, I can pull it up on the screen right now. But who did you email this to, Dan? Did you email it to everyone?
Yeah, that was the one.
Yeah, I've seen this. So Hayden, I know you're on your phone. You're able to see this, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And Fred, you're able to see this as well?
Yes.
Okay, so Dan's recommending that we go through and we make some adjustments to our tree policy for mitigation requirements. In the first paragraph, inserting the following. which I think is really good, he's talking about the 1-to-1 ratio. It can be impractical, and in some cases, it really is impractical on some lots. A good example is, what we're facing with some of these parking facilities or storage facilities where, it's gonna be hard to do a 1-for-1. So, and it won't be the first time, it's not the first time and it won't be the last time. So, in areas,
I drafted this up because we've had a couple of properties that had not been developed yet, and they were heavily treed. And
Yeah.
in order to build a house on the property, they had to cut down a lot of trees. And as you said, it's just not practical to replace it on a 1-for-1 basis.
Yeah.
But we always require something. But what I drafted there looked to me like it might make sense.
yeah,
And,
and
it's really doesn't have anything to do with what kind of tree, whether the trees are big and healthy or small and healthy or whatever. It's just X number of trees. This is what you need to do to repopulate the lot with greenery.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you want to say something about, because it seems like there's a big difference between brand new construction, because that happens a lot, brand new construction, wooded lot, and, where it's, there's already something there, or maybe.
Yeah, and you
that's-
notice I put in thinking that, when talking about removing a lot of trees, so I did say make the replacement trees a little bigger, 2-inch caliper instead of 1.5. So it looks like a real tree. And also, like the shrubs, no less than a number 5 container size. Something in a number 5 looks like a shrub already. It's not some little spindly thing that might someday be a shrub.
yes,
So in return for not asking for 1-for-1, we would be asking that you plant some serious looking things there and not just something that you bought at Walmart,
yeah, I mean, if you're taking down what I would call, on a lot, I mean, there's a term called legacy tree. You've got, like, for example, on, say Thompson Road, you've got, if you look at that lot and you walk that lot, it's been, it was disturbed at one point. Obviously, there's a stone wall there.
Yeah.
It was cleared. They tried to do some farming there at one point, or they used it for pasture. And, looking at the landscape, I can tell where the pasture trees are. And the oldest trees, I can see those are your legacy trees. You're gonna wanna do if those trees are coming down, you're gonna wanna do something closer to a 2-inch caliper to try to replace and compensate so those guys get up,
Yeah.
those guys shoot up, quicker. Because you're losing that canopy. These guys will get up bigger and fill the canopy faster.
Well, if you go on to the next page, I tried to address that issue also. Commercial property tree removal.
Yeah.
And the- And the paragraph, 2 paragraphs above, where it says on commercial properties.
Yeah.
Whatever happens will be negotiated between the developer and us.
Yeah.
Because every property is different and
Which I think is fair.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
fair. And, when you think about it, a 2-inch caliper tree is not cheap.
No.
That's not a $50 tree.
No, it's not. And if you're doing development like this, you know, eh, you're, you know, either we request it or planning is gonna request it. So you might as well have us ahead of planning say,
Yeah.
you're gonna need to do it here.
Yeah,
So,
as I might just note that, I assume you already read Ted's review of 300 Thompson Road. And he said that a parking facility needs to be landscaped. And in the bylaws, it says that landscaping has to include trees. So it's a little different situation there because it's not pavement and it's it's already a treed area. But even town bylaws require some situations to have trees planted.
yeah, I think that, you know, Rory and his team is gonna have to, they're gonna have to give up some, if they wanna do what they wanna do there, they're gonna have to give up some
Yeah.
some parking spaces and, you know, but then again, it's, you know, like he said, it's liability when I've got it in, you know,
Yeah.
tree branches and stuff, but then again, there are other trees that he can put in there, like, you know, he could do it, some sort of a cypress that grows up, you know, that won't have branches fall off. I mean, I'm not a fan of arborvitae. Arborvitaes are more Canada. They're northern, you know, but it's vegetation, and in the fall, your migrating birds, they love the berries off of them. So, you know, it's something that's in there. And I do know that from talking with Rory, he is planning on doing over 100 trees. That's gonna go right along where all the neighbors are. And then he's planning on doing some plantings in the wetland area. So, you know, he's already thought ahead of that. So, you know, but he's gonna have to probably consider making some concessions and what planning is thinking, but
Yeah.
for that particular area, I don't necessarily, I know that planning and a bylaw for storage facilities says putting in paved roads. I don't like the idea of paved roads going in there.
Yeah.
Because that would put, you know, impervious in an area where you really want it to be permeable because of the adjacent perennial stream and wetland system that's in there.
Yeah, I think I agree that pavement in that particular place is probably not a good idea because
Yeah.
it will involve a much more complicated stormwater management plan.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not gonna be, I mean, the speed of which, you know, the traffic that's gonna go in and out of there, it's only gonna be 5 to 10 miles an hour, number one. And number two, you know, I'm trying to talk him into using the wood chips, and that shouldn't create a whole hell of a lot of dust. And once the wood chips have kind of gotten to have disintegrated, then he could start to put in some, you know, some gravel. And, you know, the gravel can be washed before it puts it in there. And I mean, gravel doesn't really have any real dirt. But I mean, we'll get to the details on that project that, you know, in the
So,
future.
so Joey, on the suggested tree policy,
Yep.
I'm looking at it and it's the statement, construction of a house and its appurtenances. My only change to that would be change house to residential structure. Because if somebody buys a lot and decides instead of building a house, I just want to build a detached garage because I live next door.
Okay.
I just make sure it's denoted as a residential structure, because any residential structure that requires taking down a tree, you know, if they want to clear the lot to put in a shed, it's not necessarily locking them into the construction of a house.
Yeah, that is entirely possible on some of these lots that somebody wants to put in a deck would require them to remove quite a few trees.
Right, any residential structure.
Structure.
Residential
right.
structure.
For
I like-
example, down on Lakeside Ave, and this is one that's, they never really came to us. Do you guys remember? So if you go around the corner past 100, there was a property on the left that got clear cut and he's
Clear cut.
putting a garage up and it's next to that little tiny wetland near the boat launch. And that one never really got any kind of enforcement ever. I talked to him and he's like, oh yeah. And then he went ahead and did whatever he wanted.
Well, we wanted to keep this brief tonight, so
Yeah.
if people
Right,
would like
so-
time to look at this, fine,
So
we don't have to do anything tonight.
Well, do we want to make that change in this? And do we want to proceed with making this change? And making this update to the policy?
Change the word house to residential structure.
Or just
Yeah,
any
and-
structure.
Any
Well, no,
structure?
because there's a difference between residential and commercial. Because
Right.
as we were talking later on in the lower portion of in the second page,
Yeah.
he talks about how we're going to have a different approach for commercial properties.
Okay.
So I would identify the other one as commercial property development rather than a commercial structure or a business structure. Just keep it a commercial property.
Yeah.
Because a
So, like-
commercial property is anything where the land is open for any sort of business.
All right, so could
Joey?
you make that change, Mary? You've got this. Could you make that change and update the full tree policy if we vote on this tonight?
I have to say that Michelle, who I know is the biggest advocate of trees,
She's a tree
Really?
hugger, yeah.
really should see this. I would feel
Yeah.
awful
I-
voting on it without her
she-
present.
Yeah, that's my draft, so I can make the change easily enough, and I can send the copy to Michelle and
Okay.
Could I ask you a question? I don't,
And I can send a copy to anybody else that wants it too.
Okay. All
if I
right,
could just ask a question,
sure, Rich, go ahead.
I guess I'm trying to look for the concept of, we use pervious material. Oftentimes when we're removing it, we're looking to replace that, and that's more of a seepage into the soil. And so the reason why we use these trees is for cooling of the soil and the water, right? So if we're replacing material, why can't we put in concepts where we're thinking about total coverage? So if we can get estimates as to how much foliage is that's being covered, and we're looking to replace that. So it's not the size of the tree that's planted, it's the maturity of that tree, whether it be a shrub and it's low growing or it's tall and it at least is covering the same amount of area. I'd like to see a concept where we think about, we get the people think about the maturity of these plantings and how much cooling is actually in effect. And when you start talking about industrial projects, I wonder if there's a ratio out there of pavement to, the coverage that we'd be looking for in trees. Just a thought, and it's not that we ever hit that, don't ever seem to hit that all the time. It's not a perfect science, but at least it's a concept that people think about.
There are some towns out there that actually have bylaws that have that in place.
I'd
Yeah,
like to
and
see
it's
something like
certainly,
that.
when I look at projects for, administrative approvals and whether or not, it usually asks them to plant something, but if they have tons of big trees, I'll just say, please plant a shrub because I know the trees will fill in the empty hole.
Yeah.
And that's
I know what you're saying, Richard. I have seen places where they would say things like developing a residential lot, you can't reduce the canopy by more than some percentage. They approach it that way. So you can cut down whichever trees you want as long as the canopy stays some major percentage of what was there originally.
And
Right.
that would be good for you think about 50 Laurelwood. That was already a developed lot, but it had tons of trees. That would be a really nice concept for that lot, actually.
So mature canopy, I think, is a term that I think should be somewhere in here. and like for like, and maybe we can think about the pavement to mature canopy concept,
It's,
some research
Yeah.
in other towns.
it's really, Rich, and that could be something that you could start maybe poking around with some other conservation commissions, like, I would look at some forward-thinking commissions like Concord, Lexington, Weston, some of the, Arlington, some of Stowe, Bolton, some of those really, they're money towns, but those guys are forward thinking with conservation. Weston, those, I mean, they're money towns, but Weston doesn't actually have a bylaw, but they're able to make people abide by their policies. And they've got a pretty hardy tree policy. But, we've got folks that, they just don't, the tree has lost a limb and I just want the whole tree gone. And it's really unfortunate. If you look at GIS and you go back in time, or Google Earth, and you go back in time and you look at the whole lake and you look at it from like 1990, and you just look at it and you could just see the coverage gone, it just goes away. And on a day where there's like no wind, that wind field across the lake, you just get a breeze of like 20 miles an hour. And that's because we're losing tree canopy across the lake like crazy. And, and that's not helping folks, shorelines either. So, all right. So, Dan, so perhaps you can make that adjustment and then resend that out to the crowd. And then, especially Michelle, and then we can maybe put it on our August 1st agenda. And we can have Michelle present, and we can hopefully, we can slam dunk it and get it in.
Yeah, I'll have that out tomorrow.
All right, thank you. Does anyone have any other items that we need to discuss before we adjourn?
I have two things.
Okay.
One is for 300 Thompson Road, that old order of conditions. I talked to Mia today, and this is the order that was never recorded and we do not have any photocopy of.
Okay.
But we do have the original Word documents. So Mia says we can recreate that order, and I can sign it so that it can be recorded at the registry. However, you guys have to vote on that you're going to reissue the order because it's been lost, so that it can be properly recorded.
All right, so do you need us to vote on that tonight?
It doesn't have to. You guys can remember that for another time if you want, but I just wanted.
Why don't we vote on it tonight? That way something is moving. I'd rather just kind of keep things moving, especially with us losing you.
Right, I was just afraid that people might, that little detail might get forgotten.
I don't want to lose, I want to just keep things executing, so.
And just a word on that, and I will put a note in the file. They cannot get their certificate of compliance until Steve Bosowich, who has the plans, he has to give them to us, okay? He has them, we don't. So when Steve submits his COC, probably after I'm gone, he has to give us the plans. And the plans are on the order, the exact date and what they were.
All right, so we'll vote on it tonight for you to submit that order in there, and then that will come down in the system, and then we'll be able to pull it, and then we'll just be able to close it out.
I will give it to Rory so he can get it recorded.
Okay.
And then Stephen will have to do a request for certificate of compliance.
Okay.
And in that case, I make a motion that we generate a new copy of the original order of conditions for 300 Thompson Road in order that it be registered, recorded at the registry.
Yeah, I had the DEP number off the top of my head, but I don't.
Is that one called 300 Thompson Road and the other one is called 300 as well?
Yeah.
The address, well, some of them have been listed as 0.
Yeah, well,
But
whichever, the original one, whichever it is.
To say the Rory Duquette, it's the Rory Duquette Boat Project.
Okay,
Yeah,
when I was, Mr. Valeri was very adamant about, don't refer to it as 0 Thompson Road. Well, it's not, it doesn't have an address for it yet. so-
right, exactly. Yeah, and so, and this was issued 2014, so,
Okay, so Dan made the motion to reissue the order for 300 Thompson Road pending. We need to get the plans from
Stephen,
Steve, and Rory needs to record it so we can close out the whole project.
Yeah.
So Dan with the first, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Fred with the second?
all right, Ms. Bartholomew,
Yes.
Mr. Bach,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Duto,
Yes,
Mr. Wigglesworth.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, guys.
All right, what's the second thing?
Well, just what I was talking with you about Goddard Street in terms of fines. If you go on that $300 a day, and it's been 45 days since June 6th, when you guys voted to issue fines, it's like $13,000. So it's a lot of money. So I think we need to, I guess my recommendation is, so the issues were he did not have his DEP sign up. He had not completed the wetland replication. He did not have the silt sack in. He did not have a pre-construction meeting. There were a whole bunch of things like that. So he is satisfied about half of those. And he has not been following our stop works. He stops for a little bit, but then he starts again. My kind of recommendation, and then Michelle got the orders recorded, which costs us like $200 there already, or 210, I believe. I recommend that we just give him a flat fine, I don't know, $1,000 or something for not behaving and going against our stop work, and leave it at that to cover that cost, and just to kind of slap him on the fist because he's cooperating halfway. So I don't know.
we could we could always do kind of like that, just give them a deadline to get the stuff fixed, or it's gonna be $300 a day till he does.
Yeah.
Starting at that deadline,
So, I mean, I did meet with Matt Morrow today. His impression was, well, about half the replication looks good. The other half needs work, but he didn't want him to do it till the fall. That's kind of the backdrop to this. So we kind of want, I mean, we kind of want to, and I would like, it'd be good for him to appear before the commission tell him what he did wrong. He say he understands it, and that he puts his signs up and does those few little things he needs to do. And then then the stop work orders can be lifted, and he should pay a fine, I think. So,
That guy comes before us, faces the music,
yeah,
listens to our side of the situation.
Yeah.
Here's what is wrong. If he wants to do work in this community, he needs to follow, and especially if he is in a wetland, adjacent to a wetland, again, he needs to understand that this board has an obligation that is, we're DEP on the municipal level, and we take our job seriously. We met for several meetings with him, working out details for that specific area.
Yeah.
We permitted his projects. We met an agreement. He signed that he would do that project to the agreement that we met on, and then said, whatever, Concom, I'm doing it my way. And that's a smack in our face. And you know, like, no, like,
Hey, Joe, just out of a curiosity, do you know anybody at DEP that you could convince to drive by and just happen to notice that they don't have a sign up?
well, yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people, and, well, Mia's,
Sign hurts a lot more.
well,
Any-
Mia's one, and, you know,
Can I
Uh,
just ask a question about that? I'm not familiar with enforcement orders or fines. I've read some stuff, but I really haven't studied it. Does the commission have the ability to lessen a fine themselves?
we do.
Okay,
We have a lot of, we have a bylaw that allows us to fine.
right,
We also have the ability, if we go through the court system, the district court, to get a ticketing system. Because we do have a bylaw, we can get a ticketing system for the agent or for, you know, for the chair, or if we needed, someone else on behalf of the commission to be, even the police, to be able to be like, hey, you're in violation, and write a ticket on the spot and give that person a ticket. But you have to have, you know, you have to be following the bylaw consistently, and I think there's a couple of other, I can't remember exactly, but there's a few other mechanisms that need to be in place there. But, you know, our way, and our, you know, we have been more of a work with the applicants, you know, more of a mutual understanding, and it often backfires in our face, as you see, Karen. You know, we try to mediate with people, and, you know, we always look like the bad people when we're trying to do you know, a good thing. You know, with the sisters on, you know, said road, with various other people, and, you know, unfortunately, you know, it's sad, but, you know, there's a rotten apple in every bunch. But anyway, yes, we can lessen the fine. I think that we might get more out of this person if we bring him to the table, talk to him, and say, listen, we will work with you. You currently have this amount of money in fines, but this is where you're at with your project. You're missing this, and this. You messed up. And if you fix these things by August 31st, September 1st, we will give you a flat fine fee that will cover the cost of this, and the cost of this, and the cost of this. And it'll be all set. But
Have we made any attempt to have him come in to talk to us yet?
Yes, so I asked him to attend on May 16th. When he came into the office, and he begged out because he had a soccer game, which, you know, he's the coach, whatever. I believe I called him a few more times though, and he never answered my call or anything.
I don't find a soccer game an excuse. I'm sorry. I don't, because a soccer game is usually another coach.
Yeah.
So
I can take off.
In that case, I would notify him again, and I'd give him a date and say, that's the date the fines start if you're not here.
yeah, but didn't you already say the fines start?
No,
So
fines
Yeah, we voted fines
now
on
they
June
really
6th.
start?
Yeah,
45 days ago, the fines have started.
yeah. But I never wrote that fine letter up. Never got sent to him just because of busyness and craziness.
You know, I'd give him one more chance to come and talk to us. Otherwise, it's gonna cost him money.
And I think that that's where we need to kind of, put a little bit of maple syrup on the stick and lure him here. Obviously, Matt's got a connection, the realtor's got a connection. And, we have been trying to get this guy's attention. He obviously ripped my, stop work order off of his house. He took your stop work order out of his, excavator. He knows we want to talk to him and he has completely ignored several attempts. So I don't have pity. I don't.
Time to stop being nice.
So with that, I guess, let's try to make that attempt, this week, Mary.
Yeah. Next week.
Um,
Monday.
all right, so that is the update on Goddard Street. What about the pipe? Did Matt Mara, is anything up? Did you see the pipe?
Yeah, so Matt said he was gonna ask, what Elijah told me about the pipe is, well, I fixed the end, okay, but he was supposed to contact Kenny and he was supposed to dig up the whole thing, if I remember correctly, or work it out with the DPW is what he was supposed to do. And Matt Morrow remembered that and said, I'll ask him about that.
And we talked, I specifically brought that up in the, you look at the meeting minutes or the recording, I brought the pipe up and I specifically said, we need to get in touch with our DPW because there's a weird thing going on with the sewer system there. There could be an easement that goes across there. We don't know what's up with it. We're here running water and we hadn't had snow or rain in days. So
Yeah, I
I'm
think he
gonna talk
did.
to Ken, and
think-
I said, Kenny's got the schematics probably on all sorts of easements and where that goes. So if it's just a drain that empties into that wetland, fine. But there's got to be some sort of, we got to fix that because that pipe has thrown X amount of cubic,
Well,
feet or
not-
yards of crap.
Not only that, he's got a broken drain pipe on private property.
Yeah.
He's got and the
Oh.
last I heard, Kenny had told him that he was going to patch that pipe, not dig everything up. So I guess,
I got a bunch of things to talk to Kenny about anyway, so. So, all right, folks, anyway, thank you for talking about this stuff. If there's anything any of you need, please, email me, email Mary. Mary, our last, audience with you. I'm not good with goodbyes. I can't really do this, but it's been, like I said last time, it's been a pleasure. There's still next week. I will see you. But I really want you to know that I'm going to speak on behalf of the community and the board. Thank you so much for what you have done in the last 6 years. You've put up with a lot. You've done a lot, and you have really served in this community. So thank you so much. And best of luck in your future endeavors. So
Yeah, thanks, guys. Yeah, it's been a pleasure, really. You guys, it's been great. And I feel like we've all learned a lot and the board's come a long way in 6 years. It really has. So
quite a bit.
It's been a pleasure to be a part of it, really, to just watch the change and yeah, it's been great.
thank you.
Don't be a stranger. And of course, I'll be bugging you.
I know it's gonna be like next August 1st, I'm gonna be wanting to like dial into the meeting. My husband's gonna have to say, stop it.
Come anytime and say hello. All right,
Yeah.
well, I need a motion for adjournment, please, folks. I believe we lost Fred, so.
Yeah.
You have that motion.
All right, so we've got Dan with the first, and do we have a second?
I'll second.
Karen with the second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous.
All right,
All right, thank you. Have a good evening, everyone.
all right,
Thank
good
you.
night, guys.
All right, bye-bye.